What's going on, guys? Your boy Amazing. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, I'm gonna be doing the festival tier list. I have not made a festival tier list since last year, March, and that was when it was only, by the way, up to Purgatory Bond. So we have Ludo, Cusack, King, Trader Melly, Gowther, and Deanne here to actually go over and talk about who is gonna be higher on this tier list. And I decided I'm not gonna like number it. I'm gonna just put them in like a ranking I feel that they are good in, you know what I mean? I think that's gonna be a lot better, especially considering look how many festivals we have in the game now, bro. When I was going through and collecting all of them for this tier list, I didn't know that they had so many, bro. It was kind of crazy. So yeah, before we actually hop into the video, make sure to subscribe to your boy Amazing. We are on the road to 20k subscribers, man. At the time we're recording this video, I'm at 18k subscribers. You guys pulled it off. We are 2k subscribers off of 20k. So if you guys want to show some support, definitely make sure to subscribe to your boy Amazing. So let's actually hop into the video and go over I have every festival pulled up on GC database, by the way, literally like all lined up and everything. So we're ready. Let's hop in and we'll go over in order of release. I think that's gonna be a good way to do it. So actually, no, I want to do, you know what I'm gonna do first? I'm gonna put the S tiers first, because I think we gotta get them defined and out of the way, and then we'll move on to the tiers under. I think that's gonna be kind of important. So first off, in the S tier, Trader Meliodas. Obviously we know Trader Meliodas is one of the best characters in the game. Where is my Trader Meliodas here? There we go. Okay, Trader Meliodas, as you guys know, one of the most cracked units in the game. God tier in Bird, God tier in PvP, God tier in basically anything he's used in, right? Amplify single target, so he does more damage with buffs. Every time allies use single target skills, he gets an all stats buff for up to 3 turns by 6%. And then if 2 or more single target use or single target cards are used, he actually gets 40% damage reduction total with 8% per time, like every time they do that. He's got Pierce AoE, which is a really strong card, and then his ultimate is just so broken. Like the more dupes you get, the more broken this ultimate is. I didn't even know, by the way, the cleave multiplier actually increases from 50 to 100. So at 100%, you're doing 100, like literally your crit damage. Basically, you're doing your crit damage, which is kind of crazy. So debuff multiplier, right? So the debuff for the all stats down goes up, and then the multiplier itself just increases by 39%. So I think Trader Meliodas is easily an S tier. Like we don't need to debate that. Like that's just an instant S tier. And you know, makes sense. Next character that I'm gonna put on the S tier is gonna be Festival King. And just by the way, guys, it's not gonna be like ranked in the tier. They're just about the same power level type of thing. That's the way I'm kind of going about this. So King, I think, is really strong. Let me find him here. King is really strong because he's literally used in anything that you can use him in, really. Like, you know, in Final Boss Escanor, you can use King. That's how you know King is so strong too, because he basically invalidated Final Boss Escanor, and that was one of the hardest things that it like came out, like, you know, back in the day, like a year ago. That was so hard. You needed mono. Like when you had King, though, you could actually clear like fairly well with him. But King is so strong because of his passive, where every time he does a card or does damage, when the hero uses a skill and increases damage dealt to the enemies by 30% just outright, right? And then creates a barrier around all allies equal to 15% of damage dealt for 1 turn, and decreases damage taken by 100% and increases damage dealt by 25%. So he literally, every time he uses one of these cards, he's going to increase his damage dealt, right? He's going to decrease damage taken, you know, like that's just a strong combo, I think. Like, and realistically, like everywhere he's used as well, like King is just super cracked, man. So we're gonna give King the S tier, and I think that's definitely a solid placement for him for sure. The next character we're going to be putting in the S tier is going to be Purgatory Bond. And unfortunately, you know, it's been a whole year since my last tier list, and Bond is still one of the best units in the game. And, you know, it is what it is, bro. But Bond is just a cracked unit. Like, you know, it's not just him, honestly. Like, it's probably his whole team around him. But I think Bond himself as a unit, just the way they designed him was so broken, bro. They gave him Detonate AoE, which scaled off of HP, right? So he did 21% of the hero's max HP with Detonate on top of that. He also has a HP buff card that also heals diminished HP and increases max HP, right, which is strong. And then for his passive, every time the hero's ultimate move gauge fills by 1 orb when using or moving skills, the hero's max HP increases by 8% up to 5 times and for 3 turns, and removes all stat decrease effects from self. So any like defense related down, attack related down, you know, HP related to anything like that, bro, any of the like the debuff skills, they're all gone. Bond just cleanses it every time he moves a card or uses a card. And then his Holy Relic on top of that, I think is really strong too, because it gives him 15% HP every time an ally dies. So the more people are dying on your team, the more HP he's getting. He's just cracked, man. He's just cracked. Like I think Bond as a unit is one of the like most like, it's definitely one of the best like in terms of longevity. Like he's lasted the test of, he's tested the lasted the test of time. Like I don't know what the saying is for that, but he's actually cracked. And you know, I think he's definitely deserving of the S tier considering how powerful he is still in the game. So yeah, I think for now that's S tier, if I'm not mistaken. Like I'll have to think about exactly what I'm gonna do, but I think this S tier seems about right for me, honestly. So let's move on and go over to the A tier. For the A tier here, I'm gonna start with Diane. Diane is just came out recently, right? Where's Diane? Okay, Diane just came out recently, and a lot of people are saying she's just an okay festival, and I'm on the side of where like she's just cracked for me, bro. Like she's not the best character in the game, and that's why I didn't put her in S tier, but she's really, really good. She's solid, and that's what makes her so good. One of the best things about Diane as well is her high CC. She, if you guys don't know, let me pull up the CC ranking. Let me pull up the CC ranking just to show you how high CC she actually is. This is with no like gear, by the way. This is just like level 1 or level 90 SA1 or SA6 with only 1 in a 6, and then including holy relics but no gear, basically, right? So Diane is the highest CC in the game if you're looking at it like that, right? Which is kind of crazy. Diane is the highest character, like CC character in the game, and you know, she as a character is really strong. She has Gulthur's card, Fest Gulthur's card, so pulverize. Every time the more gauge she has, the more damage she's gonna do, and she also reduces the enemy's ultimate move gauge when it's 4 gauge or higher, right? Really nice. And then she also has an HP related taunt, which is a actual stance card, by the way, not a like a buff stance card. So it's going to assume a stance which taunts enemies and increases the HP related stats by 12% for 2 turns, 18% for 3 turns, and then 30% for 3 turns. So like overall, Diane increasing her HP like that, really strong. And then that coincides with her passive, because the more damage she's taking, she's actually going to be increasing her damage dealt. So when taking damage from the enemy, increases the hero's damage dealt by 10% up to 50%, combines up to 500k damage taken by skills and skill effects, then increases damage dealt by 20% of the accumulated amount, then decreases the ally's damage taken by 40% when a stance is active. So that's really strong, right? Like just that passive alongside her. And then her ultimate quell damage is going to be damage dealt plus 5% per active stance on self. And the multiplier, like in total, for the heal actually goes up to 50%, by the way. I think I don't know if it's 50 or 30, but I think it is 30 actually. My bad, yeah. 570% at 6 out of 6 and 30% heal. Really, really good, man. And I think a lot of people sleep on Diane. Like I think like the main reason they do is because King's on her banner, and King is just a better character. Like, you know, it is what it is. But she is strong though. Trust me. If you guys haven't used Diane and you haven't felt her like full potential of strength, she is really strong and can be used pretty well in the meta right now. I'm not gonna lie. So that's why we'll give Diane the A tier. Moving on to the next festival, we're gonna give Zeldris the A tier as well. Let's move on to Zeldris. Zeldris, I think, is A tier because, you know, after his buffs, he's been really good. If you guys don't know, they did buff his passive. I think initially it was like to like 18% basic stats, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that, and then they increased it to 20. If I'm not, wait, it's 3. No, that's 24% basic stats. Yeah, they increased it to 24% basic stats at total. So if you guys don't know, it's 3% for every debuff applied on the enemy, and this can work in the backline too. So it's really strong. And then Zeldris has cleave damage on a single target, which, as you guys know, cleave as a damage multiplier is still really strong. 75% times the crit rate minus 100%, right? It's good. Or crit damage, I should say. And then the demonic zone right here is basically dissolve without attacking, which is good because it applies dissolve for 1 turn, applies dissolve and takes 2 ultimate move gauge and restricts the use of the ultimate moves. And then for 2 turns it's gonna apply the exact same thing as the rank 2, which is pretty good. And then the ultimate there is gonna decrease all enemies HP related stats up to, I think, 20, what is that, yeah, 25%. And then at rank 5 and 6, debuff lasts for 3 turns. Yeah, and then the multiplier itself goes up to 945% of attack. So it's pretty good. The HP related down, I think, was used kind of for Bond, but Zeldris is not really facing a Bond team though. But HP related down, not bad. I think it's pretty good. And it applies on all the enemies, even though it is a single target ult. But I think the main value you get out of Zeldris is just having him in the backline. The backline support that he provides is really strong. And every character with Zeldris backline is just a free 24% basic stats as long as you apply enough debuffs, right? Once you get to about 6 debuffs, you're already at like what? 18% basic stats, right? Like it's pretty good. And applying 6 debuffs total on the enemy in PvP, let's say, is not that bad. It's actually not that bad. So that's why I think Zeldris deserves the A tier. You guys let me know in the comment section below where you believe he would go, but I think A tier is pretty solid for Zeldris. So moving on, we have Margaret. Margaret, I think, is A tier as well, because she's not the best character like she used to be, because she definitely was because of this skill for a period of time. But she has fallen off a little bit, not to the extent that I think a lot of people give her. Like, she's still really strong. I think her grace actually is one of the most slept on things about her, I'm not gonna lie, because her grace is actually really strong. 5% for every stance or buff on the enemy when using a skill is a lot of attack you're getting. And then having her buff card, which gives you basically everything you would ever need. Basic stats, damage dealt, damage reduction, cleansing. Like, it's literally everything you'd want in a buff card, honestly, like in my opinion. Like, that's basically everything you'd want. And then she has charge AoE, just like Lassie and Meliodas, so ignoring defense. And then she's going to increase goddess allies basic stats by 8% every time an ally uses a stance or buff skill. So really good kit together, right? And then her ultimate, which at 6 out of 6 is kind of stupid, but at 6 out of 6 it has the block effect, so the same thing as Chandler's card basically. So and decreases damage dealt with ultimate moves. Wow, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, no, her block effect is just broken. Like, if you have 6/6 Margaret, bro, you basically win the match the moment you get the ult off. It's that stupid. Because the block effect, if you guys don't know, blocks every skill effect except stances, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think that's the only card you could use that would not be affected by block effect. So, oh yeah, and it actually says it right here, stances and recovery seals. So I was thinking off the top of my head, but it was right there. But yeah, Margaret's really good, and she hasn't really fallen off that much in my opinion. I think she's still in the meta for sure. She's just not as prominent as she used to be, especially because of King Shields just basically bypassing her damage with charge. Like, you just put up a King Shield, you're fine. Meliodas kills her in 2 hits, and then Bond, at 6 out of 6 Rupture just one bangs a Margaret team. So overall, she's kind of fallen a little bit, but she's still a really good unit. So if you have Margaret, and especially at 6 out of 6, she's really, really strong. The next character we're going to be putting on the tier list is going to be, this is a toss-up too. It's a toss-up, but I'm going to put, okay, this is actually a very hard ranking here. I'm just, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to put characters on the tier list now, and then we'll talk about it, right? So I'm going to put King and Meliodas in the bottom, right? We'll put, it's a toss-up between here or here for Escort, to be honest, but I think for now B tier, just because of we'll talk about it in a bit. Goddess Liz we could put there. Assault Mode I'm gonna put in C. Fest Merlin I'm gonna put there. It's a toss-up, bro. Fest Merlin's actually good after a Holy Relic, I think. I think this is probably an accurate tier list. But let's talk about it, you know what I mean? Let's talk about it. So, first off, Fest Merlin. Where is she? Fest Merlin. So, I think Fest Merlin is really good because she's just cracked with her Holy Relic. You guys don't know, look how much stats she gets off her Holy Relic, by the way. 3,500 HP is a lot of stats. It's actually kind of crazy how much that is. If you guys don't know, compared to other Holy Relics, 3,500 is literally an SA basically. That's how much of an increase it is. So it's really good. And then Overall, like her kit, if you guys don't know, she's basically doing Infect AoE, which restricts recovery related stats, so no life stealing, no like start return healing, nothing like that. Power Strike single target, which is just, you know, more damage based on the enemy's resistance, can be really strong depending on the enemy, right? Her passive here is the hero's damage taken from skills during the enemy's turn does not exceed 40% of max HP. It can never exceed that unless it's the she's hit through like a counter, because it's on the enemy's turn where she's not able to be hit for more than 40%, right? She's going to increase her attack related stats by 1% for every 4% of remaining HP when using skills. So that's another thing right there, right? So I think her total attack related, if I'm not mistaken, was like 30%. I don't know the exact numbering on her or on her attack related, but you know what it might actually be? It might actually be 25% actually. I'm not too sure, but there is, you know, the calculations to be done. I'm good. But no, Merlin's passive is pretty good alongside her Holy Relic, which increases the hero's attack by 20% when attacking debuffed enemies, right? And that's going to apply before skill activation too. So, you know, like if you have like an infect already on the enemy and you use like a power strike, is just going to do the 20%. So, I don't know. I think Merlin as a character is really strong. Her CC is like pretty high too. Like if you guys don't know, like after her Holy Relic, she's up there, man, in terms of CC. So I think she's really good. But yeah, and overall I think she's definitely deserving of the A tier considering how powerful she is like lately. But she's not, you know, nothing like too crazy. Like I think every character in the A tier is really good in their own right, but they're not doing much to the S tier characters in my opinion. They really aren't. I mean, maybe Cusack, which we'll talk about in a bit, but not too much of an extent as, you know, the S tier characters are doing to the characters under, right? But yeah, Cusack is going to be the next character we're going to be going over here. Cusack, I think, is really good. And he's had, like, it's not even just PvP viability. I think his PvE viability is where he shines for me, personally. But I think, overall, he's still really good. So, for Cusack's passive here, if a critical strike does not occur when a demon ally uses a single target skill on the enemy, inflicts additional damage equal to 40% of the enemy's increased max HP in PvP. This was mainly made to counter, you know, Purgatory Bond. Like it literally is like it says here inflicts additional damage equal to 40% of the enemy's increased max HP, right? Like they knew they were going after Purgatory Bond with Cusack. But you know, he wasn't like too crazy against her, right? His first card here is gonna be Cleave, same as Fest Zeldris. So if you guys use Fest Zeldris, that's the same. He also has gauge reduction single target. It's not the good one, honestly. It's not the Terry or Melasila one, but it is the older like green Merlin one basically, which, you know, is not the worst because you do more damage on the rank 2. You just only take 1 gauge though still. Yeah, and then his ultimate, I think, is where he actually has a lot of value. So inflicts power strike damage equal to 560% of attack on one enemy. At 3 out of 6, he's gonna gain Abyss, so it's only gonna do 25%. 3 to 4 to 6, and then 5 to 6 out of 6, he's actually going to do 50% Abyss effect for 1 turn, and his multipliers obviously scale up through here, as you can see. So yeah, Cusack, a really good bird unit, by the way. That's kind of why I value him so high. He's a really good bird unit. In PvP, he's still really strong against Bond, and Bond's relevant, right? So I think he is kind of deserving of the A tier. He could probably fall in the B tier, you know, depending on where you want to place him in terms of, you know, where you feel he's placed. But, you know, it's either or for me. I'll keep him in the A tier, though, just because of how well he can kill Purgatory Bond teams in general, so... Yeah, moving on, let's talk about the one Esnor. So the one Esnor is a character that hasn't really, like, he's fallen off, I will say, and it's not to like a crazy extent. It's mainly just because there's so many broken characters that have been released that just outshine the one Esnor in terms of how broken they are. Escanor, he is still a good unit, you know. You can definitely bring him on the team, and he still has one of the, if not the highest CC in the game. I don't know if, like, after his Holy Relic still, if he has the highest CC, like, in general, because before he actually did, he had, like, 65,900, so I think he might still have the highest CC, because this is just, like, without gear, right? With Escanor, with gear, I think he does still have the highest CC, but I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, like, regardless, Escanor as a character, really strong. He inflicts flood damage on single target on his first card, which is basically the more, like, additional HP you have, like filled or remaining on yourself, is the more damage you do. And then the Supernova card is just a single target attack percent damage. And then he basically gets all stats buffs every turn up to 3 turns, and then removes the debuffs and gains debuff immunity for the 1 turn when he goes like, you know, like noon, basically, when he gets the 1 power. So, you know, pretty good passive right there. And then his Holy Relic is just the hero ignores 30% of the enemy's defense when using skills in PvP. It's nothing too crazy. It's honestly just like there for stats in my opinion. But yeah, Essunor's Holy Relic is there. And then I think his ultimate is where he has a lot of value in not even just PvP, but PvE, like mainly too. Essunor, when at 6 out of 6, he's gonna do 1080% and then double the damage basically. So 1080 times 2, which is strong as hell. If you guys know, if you guys have done the deer and have a 6/6 to 1 Essunor, you know how powerful that can be, man. It really is just a game changer for PvE content in my opinion. But PvP, he's mainly just there for a CC backline in my opinion. If you are running the 1 Essunor in PvP nowadays, it's mainly for CC backline because he kind of gets one-shot by a lot of characters in the meta now. So that's kind of why I put him a little bit lower on the tier list, but he still has his value in terms of what he's able to be used for. So we'll definitely keep him in the B tier, and I think that's deserving of where he's placed. Goddess Elizabeth is the next character we're going to be going over here. So Goddess Liz, where is Goddess Liz here? I lost her. Oh, here we go. Goddess Elizabeth. So Goddess Elizabeth is still a really strong character, but mainly for PvE content. PvP, she's kind of fallen off even after getting her Holy Relic. I don't think she's too good still, honestly. You know, it's mainly for cheesing PvE content where she has a revive and she has the shield that nullifies card effects. But let's go over her. So she's gonna have stun on her first card, so stun rank 2, stun rank 3, just damage on the rank 1. For her like buff card here is basically a shield that nullifies card effects. It's kind of like a reverse Chandler single target basically, but it's like it's basically just protection that nullifies card effects. So pretty good, right? And it's 1 turn for rank 1 and 2, and then 2 turns for the rank 3, and goes up to 300% of her attack, which is pretty strong. And then the main reason like I feel she has value is she has a revive, right? She has a revive, so depending on like where their HP was when they died is where they revive at. And then they also Goddess also provides a reflect ultimate, which at 6 out of 6 can do 120% reflected damage. So if you attack into a reflected ultimate that Goddess Liz has popped up, you're gonna die. You're definitely dying because the amount of damage you're doing, you're taking back like the entire amount of damage you did, you're taking back and more, which is how strong Goddess Elizabeth can be. And you know, if you guys have seen like what she can do in PvE content with like how she cheeses like you know, content in Final Boss Essunor back in the day before Fest King was out, you had to bring Red Melasila Goddess Liz with Reflect Ultimate and reflect the damage, so you could do a ton of damage back to him, because that's how strong he was at the time, and Goddess Elizabeth was able to cheese that. So I think overall Goddess Elizabeth for PvE content especially, she's really good. PvP, she's kind of fallen off now, and you know, even after her Holy Relic, which I didn't read it, but her Holy Relic is just increasing the shield amount created by Goddess Bless by 15%. So I guess you get a little bit more like tankiness from the shield, but it's not too big of a game changer or anything like that. So I think she's fine in the B tier, and she can honestly be put in the C tier. But I do think her revive still has value nowadays, and yeah, I think it's still pretty good. So Fez Gowther, I want to put him so badly in C tier because he kind of sucks ass, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Hijack Gowther, I think, is one of the like the festivals that recently has come out, and I don't really think it's too crazy. I will say though, his passive is kind of nice, increasing the ally's attack related stats by 2% and max HP by 1% each time an ally uses a skill. So like over time, when building up your passive with Fez Gowther, it can be pretty good. But the problem that I have with Fez Gowther is that he dies so quick. Because you know, all he can do really is seal rank 2s. Like he's still gonna die from rank 1s, right? Like that's the thing I have with Gowther, is like the only team that works really when you bring him is with like Summer Merlin. But that team mainly is just there to stall as many turns as you can. Like you realistically win with that team. You know what I mean? Like that's what it comes down to. And I think Fez Gowther had his time to shine when you run Triple Gowther, because Triple Gowther, you just rank up this guy, you do the rank 3 of Hijack Gowther, and everyone's sealed, and you can't do anything. It seals literally everything. I think at rank 3, disables everything, including ultimate moves, except for debuff skills that are rank 1. Like the only card that is not sealed from Gowther's rank 3 is debuff skills that are rank 1. So go through dissolve at rank 1. That's the only thing it lets you do. which is kind of insane. So he he can be strong depending on like if you get like a rank 3 of his like his buff card or whatever, his debuff card. But overall, I think the rank 1 of the debuff card sucks. The rank 2 is pretty decent. Rank 3 is obviously really good. And then as I mentioned earlier with Dian, this is the pulverized card that Gowther has. So the more gauge he has, the more damage he's gonna do. And also reducing the enemy's ultimate move gauge by 1 when 4 gauge or higher. So pretty decent. But the worst thing about Gowther is his ultimate. Easily one of the worst things I've probably seen like for a festival character, bro. I'm moving Gowther down, bro. I'm moving Gowther down to the Assault Melee tier. And it is what it is, bro. His ultimate sucks ass. 4% to 10%, right? So it scales up. 40% max HP at 6 out of 6. But I'm telling you, bro, 40% of max HP on Fest Gowther, where Gowther, like, even after he's built up his passive, probably has, like, that max in ungeared, like, 200k max. Like, I feel like he's probably gonna have, like, 140, 150k, maybe. Actually, no, probably more than that. No, 200k is probably around the max. Yeah, and I don't think that's anything too crazy, to be honest. And deleting cards can be a detriment sometimes. Like, let's say the guy is at like 4 gauge and you delete his whole hand, and he just starts merging every card in the world, bro. Like, he's just gonna get like crazy merges. Like, sometimes it can cuck you. So I don't know. Fast Gowther is like a contradicting unit sometimes, bro. But his passive does have value. If you are using him and you bring unknown race characters, it does have value. So we'll give him that. But yeah, moving on, we have Assault Mode Meliodas. Where is Assault Mode Meliodas? There he is. Okay, Assault Mode Meliodas definitely has fallen off for sure. He's not the best character in the game, and he never was, honestly. He was always like close. But he just needed that like support that he never got, and unfortunately, like Assault Mode, he's basically a worse Trader Melee. He can't do what Trader Melee can do. You know what I mean? Trader Melee just has to attack and he gets the stacks. Meliodas has to sit there and wait till he gets attacked to get the stacks. So pick your poison, man. Like, I would rather have me attacking with Trader Melee than sitting there with Assault Mode waiting to get hit to do attacks. You know what I mean? Obviously there was some ways you could use Assault Mode to like kind of like finesse that. Basically, you push an ultimate with him and you get your basic stats up, and then you can start attacking. But his passive is where it mainly shines, where if all allies are demons or those with commandments, increase own stats by 5% and decrease defense related stats of all enemies by 15% for 2 turns when allies take damage, right? Limit up to 5 times. So every time like the allies take damage and you have a full demon team or full commandment team, the enemy is going to be losing 15% defense related stats, and Assault Mode gains 5% all stats, right? So it is still strong, like especially if you're facing like a bot in PvP. That's an instant W though. Like if you're facing a bot, easy W, because you just you take a bunch of hits, you get a bunch of stacks, and you go crazy, right? So he still has his use. I think he's just not as crazy as he used to be. When he initially came out against the 1 Esnor, like around that time, he's still like if you played correctly, you could beat the 1 Esnor team with Assault Mode. So I think over time he's kind of fallen off a little bit, but maybe they'll give him the holy relic he needs in the future that'll make him good. So there's that. And we have the last 2 units down here, Lost Vein Meliodas and Fest King. So the reason I put them down here, and this is before Fest King gets his holy relic, by the way. I don't know if his holy relic is that like game changing to like put him like anywhere higher, but he's my goat, so I'm down to put him like up here, you know what I mean? But let's just talk about it. Let's go to King here. Fest King, he is pretty good, and I think after his holy relic, it sounds like he's a lot better, right? Because for his passive, you guys don't know, enemies with 2 or more effects of poison, bleed, shock, and corrosion become unable to remove debuff skills using recovery skills. If there are 3 of the above debuffs, additionally decrease 1 orb from the ultimate move gauge at the end of the ally's turn. So basically what King's able to do is to seal recovery every time he applies 2 debuffs on the enemy. And his holy relic actually lets him apply bleed on the enemy whenever he uses an AoE skill, and the only AoE he has other than his ultimate is going to be the poison card, which means he can apply poison and bleed on the enemy, sealing the recovery seals, which I think is strong. It's strong, that's definitely strong. And then if you guys don't know, he has release, which deals additional damage using the remaining damage in the bleed, shock, poison debuffs. So the more like debuffs you have on the enemy, the more damage the release card will do. And at rank 3, 450% and releasing 130% damage is strong though. Like, I've seen King hit for like almost 400k with a single target on the rank 3, like if you get him set up like that. So it's definitely really strong. And then yeah, his ultimate is going to be a really strong ultimate as well. easily one of the like best like long-term ultimates, I think, in my opinion, because basically what his ultimate does, it's Abyss on all the ranks, right? So not like Cusack, so it's Abyss on all the ranks. At 6 out of 6, it's gonna do 60% Abyss with 450% damage. If you guys don't know how strong Abyss can be, man, it literally is just think of a Lost Vein ult times 2. That's Festking's ult, bro. That's how I've always explained it. It's literally a Festking, it's literally a Lost Vein ult times 2, bro. So that's why I think Festking is still like, you know, he's not like good anymore. I think after his Holy Relic he's probably like around here, like either of these two. But for now we'll put him down here. But you know, he could easily be here depending on how well he plays. But I think Fairy meta in general will just have to like, you know, bring him up. But you know, there's this king right there, so it's kind of hard when he's there. But yeah, last character on the list, and we're at like 30 minutes on the video now. Lost Vein Meliodas. So Lost Vein Meliodas, the first ever festival unit. He has unfortunately aged very poorly. Because you know, if they are ranking up Lost Vein, they're sealing him. If they are, you know, like you're sealing him with Gilther, or you're sealing him with attack skills, because that's literally the only things he has, right? You know, like the thing is with Escanor, which is why he's so good and how he can like, you know, basically bypass that, is because he has debuff immunity on the 3rd turn, right? So he's not like Meliodas where every time he gets attack sealed he can't do anything, right? And then like, you know, if you're Gilther dissolving him and attack sealing him, he literally can't do anything. His ultimate though is still kind of strong. If you have him 6 out of 6 and have like 1 or 2 cards in your hand, you're easily wiping the whole field. As long as it's not Purgatory Bond. I think he might actually tank it a Lost Vein ult. But you guys don't know, basically Secret Technique is 20% additional damage per hero skill use, and the multiplier on Secret Technique can go up to 60% on Lost Vein Meliodas. So 60% per card at 6 out of 6, right, at 450% base, and attacks effective against all types like Gogeta. He's strong, I will say. You know, he has fallen off a lot, because, you know, when every time his skills get increased, right, you know, Lost Vein, unfortunately, I think is just aged like not the greatest, but that's just the way it is, man. He literally was the first festival in the game 2 years ago, you know. So yeah, that's basically it for my tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. There are obviously characters here that could interchange. Like I feel like Cusack could probably drop, because he's not really, you know, as used in PvP. He's mainly like a bird unit now for me. So maybe we'll put like Cusack in B, but you know, you guys get the gist, man. It's around like these tiers, in my opinion, for where the characters are placed. So, you know, take my opinion with a grain of salt. If you guys, you know, if you like what I did here, definitely make sure to subscribe. And if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, then like the video. And yeah, that's gonna be it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out and have a great rest of your day.